Greetings, all gallant sailors on YouTube, welcome to Abyssal Recap. Today, we'll sail our way to Atlanta, to witness a Delta Force veteran mastering in real-life speedrun by dying myriad of times in a stuck Deathloop. Spoilers alert, buckle up and take care. Early in the morning, Roy woke up in the screams of his female companion, then he subconsciously dodged a machete strike, then slowly dressed up while fighting the killer. He knew every move the killer would be posing. Another group of killers showed up in a chopper, but shot his teammate instead. Roy waited until the fire stopped and threw the knife into Gunner's head. Without Gunner's control, the unbridled minigun blasted the chopper. But Roy calmly avoided all bullets. Soon the Huey crashed into Roy's house. He leapt before the explosion, precisely landed on a truck. He then grabbed a sport car to continue his escape, because he knew there will be 2 more killers after him. He learned these from his past 100 of deaths. Roy was trapped in infinite loop. Specifically, he was killed 144 times before he mastered this strategy. In 22 of those attempts, he missed the truck. Besides, he would be either killed by gunshots, or decapitation from a sword woman, or explosives from a short man. However, each death brings him more strategies. The only problem is, no matter how far he traversed, the killer always found him, and he never lived past 12:47 p.m. If he dies, he would be teleported back to 7 a.m. in the morning to start over again. Plus he did not have time to figure out the reason, as every time he opened his eyes, he was busy dealing with killers until he was killed. But he had his ex-wife Gemma, who is a biological worker in a research company Die Now. He thought she might be able to explain the mystery, so he called Gemma, but the head of Die Now, Colonel Clive Venner, said that Gemma died in an laboratory accident, and the next second a pair of twin killers blasted him too. Having restarted again, Roy realized he could not bring Gemma back. He dropped by at a Chinese restaurant to get drunk and wait for 12:47 p.m. to die. Last time he saw Gemma was just yesterday, but it felt like months. Roy's awful personality resulted their divorce, but his heart has always been to Gemma. That day he received a phone call from Gemma, then he came to Die Now to apply for security works. There, Gemma has been working on a time device. According to her, if used improperly, it could destroy the dimension. Speaking of which, Roy's presence was noticed by Colonel. Colonel was disturbed by Gemma bringing outsiders into the laboratory. He sent Brett to check on Roy. While looking through Roy's resume that he had served in the Delta Force, they worried that Roy would be a threat, so Colonel ordered his men to kill Roy. Gemma gathered some of Roy's hair, and asked Roy to check the birthday gift she sent a few days ago before she was called up by Colonel. When she was leaving, she hugged Roy, and she asked him to remember the word Osiris. Roy was confused. At 3 a.m., Gemma called Roy, but due to the interference of Colonel, her phone lost signal. The drunken Roy did not hear and did not care too much. It was the last time he heard from Gemma. At present time, Roy finally remembered the birthday gift. It was a book about Osiris. He headed to the underground Atlanta arcade to read the book. Gemma left notes in it. Osiris is the ancient Egyptian mythology of the king of the underworld, is a god, a symbol of eternal life, but Roy don't know the intention of these notes. He closed the book but saw his son Joe in the arcade. Joe didn't know Roy was his father but a relative. They talked and went out of the arcade. He was about to tell Joe about Gemma's death, but found that it was 12:50 p.m., which had exceeded his maximum survival record. Roy realized that there must be a tracker on him. Because of the bad signal in the basement, the killers could not get his location. But once he left the underground Atlanta, the killers flooded the place and executed him. In New Loop, Roy visited Dave, a security specialist at the restaurant. He told him trackers are harder to be found in one's teeth, and he recalled that the hot chick Alice he encountered was also a dental hygienist. He then began to pluck out the teeth one by one, and found the tracker, but not before he had his next move. He was executed by the killer Roy number 2. Roy woke up from the bed again and asked Alice. She said it was Brett paid her to do so. Then Roy used the tracker to calmly kill the killers who came after him. The next step was to find Colonel to avenge Gemma. He tried to bump in the facility but the wall was too solid to deal with. He also tried to stunt in, but failed as well. After several attempts, he managed to infiltrate the facility, by killing his twin-like rival, Roy number 2, and entered in his clothes. But unfortunately, Roy 2's card access was too low for the elevator. A few more loops, Roy finally approached Colonel, but he could not defeat the swordswoman Guan Yin. Her extreme agility made her a hard target to shoot at. Roy died few more attempts, but he learned that Gemma put his hair into the time machine Osiris spindle to repeat his day, which must be to stop Colonel from using this powerful tool to become a dictator. However, Colonel did not know that the spindle had been activated. Gemma's trust rekindled Roy's fighting spirit. He knew that every day at 11:05 p.m., a famous sword master would come to the Chinese restaurant, so he decided to learn sword lessons from her. It took him a few more loops learning the sword fighting techniques till he finally mastered it, managed to fight Guan Yin. The two did an amazing sword dance for quite a few rounds before Roy elegantly killed her with her own sword. After another easy kill of Brett, he was ready to kill Colonel, but Colonel told him he had sent killers to murder his son Joe. Roy had never thought that his son would be in danger. He sped all the way to underground Atlanta and saw his son's corpse. Having lost his son, Roy spent the rest of loops by coming to Atlanta to play games with his son. They spent pleasant time, but the spindle reactor became the new threat, causing explosion to kill everyone at end of each loop. In one loop, Roy learned from his son that Gemma had called him at 7:03 a.m., which means Gemma was still alive. After a new restart, Roy went all the way to Colonel's office. From the surveillance, he saw Gemma was killed at 7:14 a.m. He perceived that he had 14 minutes a day to save his wife. With this upbeating news, he also immediately killed himself at the facility to re-loop. After waking up, he leapt onto the Huey and hijacked the chopper to fly to Die Now. He also demounted the Gatlin M134 with him, blasted all the killers once and for all. This time, he finally arrived in time and saved Gemma, who realized Osiris worked. But to get time back on track, Roy must get into the spindle to reboot the machine. Gemma was not 100% sure, any odd could lead Roy to disappearance. Roy kissed her and believed in her for the sake of all of these he had been through. He already has the certainty to save her again, being said, without any hesitation, he walked firmly into the Osiris spindle. The movie ends. If you enjoyed watching this, feel free to leave a like and consider to subscribe to the channel.